Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll get started in just a moment. Okay, Dean Thompson, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. We welcome you to this virtual overview of the College of Engineering at Virginia Tech. I'm Keith Thompson, the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. I oversee all undergraduate issues in the college. I'm joined today by Dr. Marlena Lester, who is the Director of Advising for the college. Marlena oversees the advising efforts in the college. Today, Marlena and I are going to cover a variety of topics to introduce you to our college and begin the process of preparing you to be a student in our engineering, computer science, or building construction programs. There's a lot of information in this presentation, but it is being recorded so that you can review it later. And a lot of this information is also going to be reiterated in later activities that you will undergo during your orientation and first year at Virginia Tech. So if not everything sinks in immediately, you will have further opportunities to get this information. Let's go to the next slide. I'm going to start by noting two items about the College of Engineering at Virginia Tech. The first is that we are ranked 13th overall for undergraduate engineering programs in this nation. Some of our specific majors are even ranked higher, such as civil engineering and industrial and systems engineering. So this is a set of high quality programs that you are entering. There will be opportunities for participation in many great activities such as student engineering competition teams and undergraduate research. And you're going to find that many employers value our graduates and come here seeking students to hire. This is also going to come with some very high classroom expectations, which I'm going to touch on in later slides. The second thing is that we're the 7th largest producer of engineering and computer science graduates in the nation. There will be slightly over 10,000 undergraduate students enrolled in our college this coming fall. That size is what allows us to offer many of our high-value experiential learning opportunities, but it can also be overwhelming to be one student out of 10,000. You might feel a little lost at times. While we have some very large degree programs in our college, we also have some smaller ones such as mining, engineering, or material science and engineering that have a more personal feel. So you will have options to find a program that feels like the right size for you if you keep your mind open about the different possibilities. Let's go to the next slide. As a student in the College of Engineering, there are many people available to provide support for you. The academic affairs team, who is shown on this slide, the current slide, oversees many of the student processes such as course withdrawals, the change of major process, approvals for undergraduate research, and so on. Additionally, each of you is going to be assigned an academic advisor to help you select courses and point you in the right direction should you encounter any issue that requires a campus support office or a specific process to resolve. I'm not going to go over the duties, responsibilities of everybody that's shown on the slide here, but I do want to make you aware that there's we cover a lot of areas of support, including some college scholarships, help whenever for students who are experiencing distress, and so on. So we do have people here that will help you. And that doesn't include all the other offices across the university that are here to help students. Let's go to the next slide. The College of Engineering offers 14 baccalaureate degrees. There are 12 engineering programs, there's a computer science program, and there's a building construction program. The 12 engineering programs and our computer science program are restricted degrees. That means you're going to need to fulfill some requirements before you're allowed to enter those programs. Students pursuing any of those 13 degrees start in the general engineering program and typically complete about 1 year of study covering foundational courses that are used by all of those degrees. Once you complete that curriculum, and if your grade point average is at least 2.0, basically a C average, you are eligible to request matriculation to one of the restricted programs. Admittance to different programs depends on the space that's available in that program and your overall GPA. So typically you're going to want a stronger GPA than just 2.0. The building construction program is the college's one non-restricted degree program. You can begin in that program immediately. Let's go to the next slide. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this slide talking about some of the expectations you're going to encounter as a student in the College of Engineering. While we have a lot of people in this college and at the university who are here to support you, this is support that has to be requested. We are not monitoring you in such a way that we know if you're having a problem on a given day. We don't know if you've gotten sick and need to miss class. We don't know if you've encountered other obstacles that are impacting you. We don't have the capacity to do that with 10,000 students in the college. So you will have to take the initiative to reach out and request support. When this occurs, the best place to start is with your academic advisor. If they don't know how to help you directly, they can often point you in the right direction, or they will reach out to someone like myself or Marlena for assistance, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction to get you the help you need. Regarding academics, the experience you will have at a highly ranked college like Virginia Tech may differ a lot from what you've experienced in high school or what you may have experienced at a two-year college. The classes are typically larger. The content is likely to be more theoretical. There are going to be higher expectations around your ability to comprehend and apply complicated subject matter. Many of you are going to need to spend more time outside of class studying. The typical rule of thumb is 2 to 3 hours outside of class for every hour that you spend in class. And that time should not just be right before you have an exam, but something that you do routinely every day. Additionally, your instructors are likely to have more rigid class policies than you might be used to. They have a lot of students and they need to keep things moving at a specific schedule. So they can be very rigid on assignment deadlines. They may also have very specific expectations about the formatting of the work you do because they are trying to prepare you for the professional environment where the way that you present your work and conduct it has a lot of meaning. You're going to need to study the syllabus that's provided. Usually that's a document that's provided on the first day of class that outlines all the expectations for the course, the schedule, how it will be graded, and so on. You're going to need to study the syllabus to understand the expectations from the instructor and make sure you adhere to those expectations. Furthermore, Virginia Tech has an honor code, which is taken very seriously. Make sure you understand what boundaries your instructors have around things like collaborative work, using generative AI to help with writing, and the use of online resources like Chegg or other study sites. The most common sanction for academic misconduct is an F-star grade for the entire class. That is an F with an asterisk followed by an asterisk that will appear on the transcript. The failing grade with an asterisk indicates that the grade was given because of academic misconduct. Repeated instances of misconduct can lead to expulsion or suspension from the university. I'm going to end up this slide with 5 pieces of advice. The first is to get really serious about your time management. Figure out a schedule that allows you to manage your days, both your personal needs like getting laundry done and the significant time commitments for your courses. Consider using a calendar to schedule your task. Second, start your assignments early. Do not leave them until the night before. Third, find reliable and serious study partners. This will help you understand material better if you have people to discuss it with, but it also helps you stay on track for your classes, especially if you have to miss a day for any reason. You would have other people in that class that you could reach out to help with notes or to ask to be reminded about when certain things are due. Fourth, track your grades. Don't just rely on the grade calculation that's in Canvas, which is the learning management software we use for all of our classes, but read the syllabus and find out how the final grade is calculated and make your own independent record of grades and where yours is heading. Try to predict what grade you're headed for in a given class. That's going to allow you to make strategic decisions about whether to keep the class or whether to drop it before the drop deadline or to use one of the 3 course withdrawals you'll be allowed at this university. And the fifth, and this is the most important thing, do not hesitate to reach out for help if you are struggling. I can say this last part from personal experience. I was a smart student when I first went to college, but I had a tendency to handle all my problems on my own, and I now recognize as an adult that this was a mistake. I could have done better and enjoyed my college experience more if I had reached out for support during some key moments of my experiences. So my advice to you is not to do what I did. Don't hesitate to reach out, get help, don't be stubborn about it. Let's go to the next slide. When the university needs to contact you or needs to send out important reminders about deadlines or other notices, we will be using email, and the email we're going to use is your official vt.edu email address. Make sure that you check this email daily, even during the breaks. I will admit that this university sends out far too many emails. All universities do these days, but there are going to be important messages in there. So take the time to make sure you scan through all those emails, identify the ones that have critical information you need, and read those. Let's go to the next slide. For the parents that are here with us today, we recognize that you're making a significant investment both monetarily and emotionally in your students' education. So I want to say a little bit about the best way to be a partner in your students' journey. This is a time for students to move up significantly in their responsibilities, independence, and accountability. This is another important part of the learning that happens in college. Figuring out how to self-advocate, how to reach out for help on their own, how to manage their own time are essential skills for moving into a professional adult life. And help them do this. Encourage them, but try to let them do things on their own. However, at the end of each semester, do make sure that you check in with your students on how their grades are and their academic progress. Try to make this a safe conversation, but it's important to have an understanding of what's going on academically so that academic struggles don't sneak up on you. There might need to be a candid discussion about whether a major is the right choice or maybe other issues that are happening while your student is at college. Let's go to the next slide. If you reach out to us directly as a parent, we do have constraints on how much we can discuss about students and their academic records with families. We work with students, not parents, and we're constrained by the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. This means that we cannot discuss academic matters, even to the point of confirming whether or not someone is enrolled at this university, unless we have that student's permission to do that. Students can grant this permission. When they do so, a code will be assigned to the person to whom permission has been granted. We call this the FERPA code. The process for doing this is through Hokey Spa, and there's some information on how that's done in this slide that's showing right now. There's a lot of text on this slide, but this is something that's going to be revisited a few times over the orientations that you will encounter over this summer and the first year at Virginia Tech. Let's go to the next slide. So I'm going to spend my remaining time before I turn this over to Marlena just going quickly over some of the many resources that we have here to help support students. The college maintains a resource and support webpage. You can see a screen image from this on the current slide. This page has links to numerous offices and other support resources on the campus. First off, let's go to the next slide. The best resource is going to be your academic advisor. You can find out who your academic advisor is through Hokey Spa or the Navigate advising system. Appointments with advisors are managed through our Navigate software system. This is the system we use for all advising interactions at this university. Let's go to the next slide. The college has a computer requirement. We did an information session on this earlier in the summer, which has been recorded and which you will have access to as a recording. There's the specific requirements for computers are outlined in that presentation. There's also a website that lists them. While you're on campus, your computer might have issues that come up, and we have an office to help with that that's called SWAT. That stands for Software Assistance Triage. They're located in Torgerson Hall, and if any issues happen with software on your computer, or your computer just dies, you can bring it into SWAT and have them take a look at it. They can even loan you a laptop if your computer experiences severe problems that make it unusable for a period of time. Let's go to the next slide. Virginia Tech has two counseling options for students experiencing any type of mental health distress. We have a physical counseling center named Cook Counseling, and they're located near the campus. We also have an online resource called Timely Care that we contract with. We highly encourage students who begin to experience any sort of mental health challenges to make use of these support units. Let's go to the next slide. Another good support office if you experience any sort of family or personal life issues is the Dean of Students office. They can provide absence verifications. They also have emergency funds if you experience financial distress, and this includes food assistance. They have a market that they run that provides low cost or free food to students. They also offer general support and with a variety of problems that students encounter. They are well connected with all the other support offices on campus and can help triage what types of support a student needs if they come in seeking help. Let's go to the next slide. If you had accommodations in high school or were on an individual education plan, I strongly encourage you to register with the Office for Students for Services for Students with Disabilities, or SSD. They will review appropriate medical documentation. They'll make an assessment of your needs. They'll have you meet with an access specialist, and then they will authorize accommodations that will provide an equal level of opportunity for you to be successful in your courses. These are not an unfair advantage. They are simply there to make sure that all students have the same level of opportunity to be successful. Let's go to the next slide. We also have a student health center that's located on campus called Schifferett Health Center. You can access that whenever you're sick. Prior to starting as a student, you must submit a history of your immunizations to them. The due date for that was at the end of June. If you haven't yet submitted that immunization record, they will have placed a hold on your account, and you will have to get that step done to get that hold removed. Let's go to the next slide. We also have a Student Success Center. They provide tutoring services. They have a peer mentoring program. They have courses on learning strategies, and they have other opportunities to help students academically. And then let's go to the next slide. This is my last one. We have a career and professional development center on campus. There are numerous career fairs throughout the academic year. We encourage students to do an internship or some other career building activity while they're a student. The Career and Professional Development Office can offer assistance on writing a resume. They offer mock interviews to help you practice. They can even check out business attire if you don't have the right type of clothes to wear for an interview. They're very helpful when you get to that stage of your academics, when you're ready to begin looking for internship or co-op opportunities, or you're looking for that first job after graduation. I'm going to turn this over to Marlena now. I would thank you for your time. I'm going to hang out in the background with my camera off in case any questions come up later for which I'm needed.
Thank you, Dean Thompson, and welcome everyone. And if you're watching us live, thanks for being here. If you're watching the recording, also appreciate your attention to all of these details regarding our engineering orientation. Engineering orientation is referred to as our virtual academic advising and course registration process here at Virginia Tech. And as part of that process, we host these college overview sessions in which we do have the recording posted online. We also host some question and answer sessions. We have our last one today regarding study abroad, and I'll go into more details about that. You also will have the opportunity to meet with your academic advisor if you've not already done so. and then also, of course, complete your course registration. All of these details regarding our process for engineering is located on the engineering orientation website, and you'll see the hyperlink there on the bottom of the screen. As far as our timeline, which is also outlined on the website, we really started our onboarding of new students back in May, and that's when all students received a welcome email from the college that came from me that really introduced you to what we call the engineering orientation checklist. It's a step-by-step list of things that we would like for you to accomplish. If you've not started that, you just go to the engineer orientation checklist and start at the top and work your way through. Even though some of the deadlines may have already been passed, a lot of things will accept late submissions, so please go ahead and start working on that list from top to bottom. On June 6th, students would have received information directly from their advising program that would have given specific information that's for that particular program. And we did begin advising and class registration on June 11th, and that goes all the way until July 25th. And so students are asked to attend a mandatory virtual academic advising session for your major. And then, of course, you can register for classes. You can also register for classes prior. So you can do it kind of before or after, depending on your needs. Class registration, like I said, is open. It opened on July 11th, and it stays open all the way through the first week of classes. The last day to add any new classes for the fall 2025 semester is going to be August 29th. And if you go onto the orientation website, we do have some tutorials on how to do course registration. There's some videos that link out to information that you'll need. We also have all the program requirements that you need, and I'll walk through some of those details as well. In addition to this session, we mentioned earlier, we also hosted some optional Q&A sessions, and those Q&A sessions were really about our computer requirement, and so you can watch that recording. Hokie Shops, which is a Virginia Tech bookstore, which also has some information out there about the services that they provide. We hosted one on peer mentoring, career support, and then today is our last session on study abroad. So you'll be able to see all those recordings online if you missed them live. So definitely take a look at those, especially if you have any questions about the computer requirement. Also on that engineer orientation website, as you scroll down to the bottom of the page, there's these little tiles or icons that has all of those details that I just walked us through. It has information about our engineering orientation checklist. It has information for our students admitted in general engineering as a first-time in college student about the ALEX placement for math and chemistry placements. It does link out specifically to the computer requirement and additional supplies of some suggestions and recommendations of items that we recommend that you bring to campus. There's also a link about self-evaluating your transfer credits. So if you are expecting advanced placement or international baccalaureate or dual enrollment, or you're a transfer student, you're unsure how your classes are going to transfer to Virginia Tech, you'll be able to go in there and see all of the guides, tools, and databases to show you how those classes will transfer to Virginia Tech. There's a couple things to keep in mind regarding some of the transfer credits that we just want you to be aware of. We were notified that AP scores have been received by the university. Those happen around July 7th, so those are on students' records. If you had requested your official advanced placement classes scores to be sent to Virginia Tech. So if you don't see those on your records, then definitely make sure you contact College Board and have them send your scores to Virginia Tech. You often may need to request multiple score reports in order to get all years of your score reports to the university, so make sure you're doing that. Also keep in mind that we recommend, and this is something that we have in our frequently asked questions, we recommend that you accept your advanced placement credit and move on to the next level of your classes. And we also, as a university, have something called an AP duplicate drop process that's administered through our Office of University Registrar, where if you accidentally, for example, enroll in a class like U.S. History that you have AP credit for, and you re-enroll in that here in the fall semester at Virginia Tech, you would be dropped from that class at Virginia Tech. And they run that AP duplicate drop all the way through the end of July, and then they will stop running that analysis for that process. You'll also be able to see the program requirements for the departments that you are wanting to pursue. You will look for the 2025 degree requirements. You'll specifically look for the roadmaps and the graduation curriculum, and has all the details that you need for your entire time at the university for that particular program. You'll also see information about course registration, keeping in mind that there are some courses that might be major restricted, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. The change of major process for those of you who are in general engineering who would like to move into one of our degree granting engineering majors for graduation, which is something that all students will need to do. You'll either need to move into general engineering or another program out of general engineering into another program at the university, within the college or the university. And for that change of major process, you'll be able to see all the course requirements, GPA standards, and details on that website. The resources and support page that Dean Thompson went over, there's a hyperlink there for that, and then also the frequently asked questions. In addition to this very robust orientation website, we have created a Canvas, which is our student learning system at the university site for each student population coming into the university. And so for the College of Engineering, we have a site specifically for transfer students that is for our virtual academic advising and course registration process. There's a particular page for general engineering students, so those of you admitted as general engineering. And then there's a separate site also for students admitted into building instruction. So either if you're a first-time in college student or transfer for building instruction, you'll have that one page dedicated specifically for building instruction. So definitely make sure that you are taking a look at those resources and using those wisely. And if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. One of the things that is one of the most important things that you do as a new student is to make sure that you are sending your transcripts and score reports to Virginia Tech. You do need to send all official high school, college, and university transcripts to the Office of Undergrad Admissions, and the address is there on the screen. You will also want to make sure you're sending all official score reports, so advanced placement, IB, CLEP, Cambridge, to the Office of University Registrar's Office. It has a school code that you specifically request that information to be sent to. And like I mentioned, if you are curious on how those classes are going to transfer to Virginia Tech, you will want to complete your own self-evaluation of your transfer credits. As a transfer student external to Virginia Tech, maybe you're transferring from another two-year school or four-year school, you were required to submit a self-evaluation of your transfer credit on the engineering pre-orientation form that's outlined on the engineering orientation checklist. As a first year student, you should have your own self-evaluation of transfer credit available for your advising meeting. You don't submit that, but it's just very good practice to understand how your classes are going to transfer to Virginia Tech and how they fit into your degree requirements. There is a sample self-evaluation template on our website. There's also those charts, guides, and databases I mentioned for the different types of classes that you might be receiving credit for. So those exam equivalencies like AP, there's a whole chart for that. There's one for IB, and there's all these little rules too that you can read through. There's also the Virginia Community College system transfer guide, which shows you how all classes across the state of Virginia's community college system transfer to Virginia Tech. And then also there's a database for classes that are outside of those systems. So if you're trying to determine equivalency from another two-year or four-year school outside of the state of Virginia as well. We do want to make sure that you're also sending those score reports and transcripts. Is one of the most important things for this process, but it is very important that you verify that your records are accurate and that they are shown reflected correctly on your Hokie Spa system. So you can verify process scores and transcripts on your Hokie Spa system. So if you're looking for verifying that Virginia Tech has processed your college transcripts and score reports, you can do so on Hokie Spa. You'll go into the hokiespa.vt.edu screen, click on the grades menu, and then transfer and other additional credits, and it has the side-by-side equivalency of those classes if they've already been officially processed at Virginia Tech. If they're not there, then I would strongly suggest that you go back and request another transcript or score report to be sent to Virginia Tech. This is also a very important screen for you to be able to look at whether or not Virginia Tech needs more information from you about your transferable classes. So especially if you're a transfer student, we might need a syllabi for your classes to be fully evaluated. So you do want to make sure that you are requesting that going onto that screen and making sure that you have all those notations, that you've read them correctly. And if it does ask you to send a syllabus for us to evaluate that class, make sure you do send that to credits@vt.edu. But there will be a notation if that's a requirement that you need to do. I mentioned earlier that your program requirements are available. We are super excited about this. All your degree requirements for entering cohort of 2025-2026 can be found on our catalog.vt.edu website. We have that hyperlinked off of that orientation page as well. And under there, you can click on the College of Engineering and specifically look for your department, and then you click on the major and the roadmap will be there. The roadmap lists out all your Pathways to General Education courses. It's a requirement for all students. The degree core, your major courses, elective classes, and that's all underneath that program requirement. And so you will be able to see those details for what you need in order to obtain your degree here at Virginia Tech. When it comes to your degree requirements, there are essentially 4 components to your degree. And when it comes to the general education requirements, we call that Pathways to General Education. And that makes up about 39% of your degree requirements. And so that's a huge chunk of the requirements that you need in order to obtain your degree. You also have your degree core. Your degree core varies by program, but about 24% of your degree requirements is going to make up the degree core. And then for the major courses, that's about 22% across all of our programs. And then your electives, it could be really 0 to up to X number of credit hours, but about 15% of your degree requirements is going to be from those electives. We are also going to recommend that all students can enroll in 15 to 17 credit hours. That allows you, if you're trying to graduate in 4 years or 8 semesters, if you're at 15 credits and you're at 122 credit hours, you're going to be quite a little bit short. So that's why we give you that variation of range between 15 and 17 credit hours per semester, so that you can ensure that you're graduating on a timely fashion. In addition, we are highlighting something called our degree audit report system. You can run your degree audit report system in Hokie Spa. What this is a computer audit. That it's a computer generated report for all undergrad students, and it matches the requirements of your degree program with your courses that you've already taken. The audit identifies any graduation requirements that are completed, as well as those that still need to be completed. And it's just a great way for you to go in each semester multiple times, double checking where you're at in the degree requirements. If you are in a degree granting major, like your new transfer to Virginia Tech, or you're already in building instruction, you can complete your application for a degree now, and that allows you to go in and run your actual degree audit report system. If you are in general engineering or a first time in college student in that program, you will request what we call a what if degree audit, and that allows you to run a different program requirement until you're officially in your degree granting major. So you can still see what requirements that you need, you just go about it a different way. So once you've kind of understood what your degree requirements are, and maybe you've connected with your advisor either in a group session or you've met with them one-on-one, then you do want to make sure that you are working to finalize your class schedule. On Hokie Spa, you can go into the course registration schedule menu and make sure that you are finalizing your class schedule with those recommended course load. You go into the add drop section of the page, and that's where you'll be able to see those details about how to go in and register for your classes. I mentioned very early on in my part of the presentation today something about major and course restrictions. So I do want to highlight that piece for you as well. So some of our courses are major restricted. So that means that only students that are officially enrolled within that major or a set of majors can enroll in that particular section of the class. But you can utilize something we call the timetable of classes to search by term, pathways, subject, course number. You can look at the course request number and the course modality. And in the search results, you can click on the CRN on the far left-hand side to view any course prerequisites, co-requisites, and restrictions. And so once you are enrolling in your classes, if for some reason it does show up as an error like major and course restriction, just go in and click on that little CRN number to identify why that class won't let you register for it. And you also need to make sure that you are completing all the prepare for registration items in order to get into that registration system on Hokey Spa. So once you're kind of working on your class schedule, you do want to make sure that you are minimally enrolled in at least 12 credit hours to be considered a full-time student. Full-time status is required for students who live on campus. If you receive kind of financial aid or you're an NCAA athlete or are an international student in the United States on a visa. So you want to make sure that you minimally have 12 credit hours on your schedule. But keeping in mind that the typical recommendation for engineering is 15 to 17 credit hours. This is necessary to complete your degree requirements in the 4 years, or if you're a transfer student, 3 years or 2 years, depending on the program, because of those credit ranges from 122 to 129. It's also important to keep in mind if you are participating in the Corps of Cadets, you might have 17 to 19 credits for your fall and spring semesters just because you have a few additional Corps of Cadet requirements that you have to do. But regardless, 19 credits is the maximum number of credits that any new student can take. It's also important that the cost of tuition is the same if you take anywhere between 12 and 19 credits. There's no additional charge for that. So once you have full-time status established, there's no additional charge for taking that 15 to 17 credit hour range. Once you have your class schedule finalized and you want to be able to share that with yourself or your family members, what I really recommend that you view your finalized class schedule through is on Hokey Spa under the Classic Student Schedule view. That allows you to see this like chart format where it shows you the CRN, the course, the prefix, and the number, the modality about it being face-to-face or the modality of that class, the title of the class. It gives you your grading option, the credit hours, the time, the dates, the location. The locations are also typically hyperlinked out where you can see information regarding the location of that particular class on a campus map. It will list the instructor or staff until an official instructor is assigned to that particular class. And it also has final exam schedule. Your final exam schedule is something you do want to reference before you make any arrangements to depart Blacksburg at the end of the fall semester. Your final exam schedule does not always align with your last day of classes. It's a completely different schedule. So you do not want to make any flight or travel arrangements until you double check when your final exam schedule is. Your exam schedule will be listed here on your screen for the Classic Student Schedule, but you also want to verify with your instructor to ensure that they are offering their final exam during that exam schedule time. There's a few upcoming academic dates and deadlines that I also want to remind you about. Fall semester does begin on August 25th, so you want to make sure that you are in Blacksburg for classes at that time. The last day to add classes is August 29th, and the last day to drop any course is October 7th. So if, for example, you do enroll in a higher number of credit hours, like 15 credits, and you need to drop a class, you have all the way up until October 7th to do so without grade penalty. But you cannot add anything new to your schedule after August 29th. So you do need to work on finalizing your class schedule, ideally before the semester begins on August 25th, because that allows professors to also work on kind of establishing groups and information that they may need to help support your class for that for the semester. If you are looking to stay informed with us on social media, we do have some social media accounts that you can follow. There is a link on our college page that has all of our socials for each of our departments. So if you want to specifically connect with a department within our college, the pages that are here on the screen are our main college accounts. We also have things on Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook, or Instagram, so you can see those accounts there to be able to go and follow along. A few final reminders from me is just definitely make sure you are finalizing your class schedule. Your advisor is not going to register you for your classes. You will need to make sure that you do that through the Hokey Spa system. If you need to go back and reference anything that I've referenced today, definitely take a look at the orientation website. That's where you can find those roadmaps, degree requirements, program requirements, specific details about the computer requirement, all those details on that orientation page. You will also see on the engineering orientation checklist, we ask all students to mark your calendar for a college session that will be held on August 20, 21st, or 22nd. We do that from 9 to 11 o'clock in Burris Hall Auditorium. And the date that you attend is dependent upon your specific on-campus move-in date. If your transfer students are asked to come on the 22nd, unless you're living on campus in one of our living learning communities, and those specific details are outlined on that checklist. And we have a whole separate website for the college session and social. The college social is something that we do for all College of Engineering new students. That's going to be on August 22nd from 2 to 4 in Goodwin Hall and the lawn. Your specific arrival time is also located on the engineering orientation checklist. That just allows us for a smooth arrival for you. I did post actually just last week the table layout. So all of our departments will be at the social. So if you are specifically coming to talk to a department or you just want more information about our programs, all of our degree granting disciplines will be there. We also have a lot of the support offices that Dean Thompson talked about will be at a tabling event. And so you can look at the map of what level of the building they're going to be in, or if they're going to be outside at one of our tent locations. So I do want to say thank you all so much for being here today. We will turn it over to any questions that you might have. But if you're watching the recording, if you need anything afterwards, feel free to follow up with your academic advisor. But we're always here to support you, and we hope you've had a wonderful orientation experience here at Virginia Tech. So what we'll do, I will open it up to Q&A. I will first stop our recording and stop our live stream.